I don't know how this is going to sound, but I really enjoy crises. I mean, I'm excited by them. They present unique opportunities, I think, for people to come out of themselves, for people to do things, to be heroic in ways they've never been before. I try to keep my eye on the world stage to see, or in particular, when are those moments of crisis when I feel like I'm in a unique position to help. Like I can do something that no one else is doing. I always want that question to be on my mind. So several years ago when there was a shooting at Virginia Tech, I was watching it on the news. It was on all the news channels, and the count of how many people were dead was unclear. And it felt like a national crisis. So a student called me and said, Rabbi Sarna, what are we going to do? And so we thought of a few ideas. She thought about making some kind of mural, a memorial. And I just said, I think we just have to go. And so that night at midnight, basically, the night of the shooting, we were on cheaptickets.com and took the next flight out in the morning to Blacksburg, Virginia, just to be a moral support for the people who were there. And we flew into the closest airport that we could find, and we drove for 4 hours to Virginia and to Blacksburg. We got there just as President Bush was finishing his address. And this was less than 24 hours after the shooting. And we stood outside the large convention center where he was speaking to thousands and thousands of people with signs that said, NYU stands with you, New York City understands. And as thousands of people were coming out of the convention center, they came over to us like, you came all the way from New York for what? Like, why did you come? We said, we want to tell you that people around the country really care about you. And what we did, we were just there for about a day. What we did there was we assisted the Hillel director, who was completely overwhelmed by the number of students who wanted to talk to her, by her own crisis. Her daughter was in a building nearby. She knew people who were killed. We basically went into her office, started answering her emails for her, answering her phone calls for her, helped her create a crisis strategy. There were different layers of crises because the local church groups also went into high gear and were offering free meals and were handing out missionary material, and it was a very complex situation. And to support her, we didn't know what exactly we were going to do when we got there, but you can't compare armchair activism from a distance to actually being there in a moment of crisis.